Charlie was born in 1944. At the age of 3, he moved to Memphis. As a teenager, sort of support himself, he starts digging ditches, laying concrete, and eventually running moonshine in his 1950 Lincoln Continental. Charlie will correct me when I'm all done here, which were the lies and which were the truth, but we'll run through them anyway. In Memphis, Charlie also is there at the perfect time. He meets and hangs out and goes to parties with Elvis Presley. Elvis parties. Jerry Lee Lewis, Johnny Cash and his brothers, Gus Cannon, Furry Lewis, Will Shade, Royal Bell, Memphis Willie B, Johnny Burnett and his brothers, and the Rockabilly guys, Red Ruby, and Abe McNeil, all folks that Charlie was hanging with and learning from when he's in Memphis. Heads to Chicago. Supposedly there's rumors of big paying factory jobs. So he heads up, as he called it, the Hillbilly Highway. There he meets Muddy Waters, Junior Wells, Sonny Boy Williamson, Buddy Guy, Alan Wolf, Little Walter, Big Walter. Spent some time living in the basement of the Jazz Mart. That must have been the most amazing basement in the world. It is incredible how many people lived in that basement. Peter, you're looking for another subject of a book? That basement is the subject of a book. Of course, that was Bob Coster, founder of Delmark Records. He would work for Bob sometimes. Also becomes good friends with Big Joe Williams. That wasn't an easy thing to be. And if you don't believe that, you might want to read a little book Mike Bloomfield wrote, a little short thing about hanging with Big Joe Williams. He also forms a lifelong friendship with John Lee Hooker, to the point that John Lee was his best man when he got married to Henrietta. He gets to play with Muddy Waters when Muddy was working at Pepper's. As a matter of fact, supposedly there was a waitress by the name of Mary, I believe is her name, and she went up to Muddy and said to him, "You should hear that boy play harmonica." So Muddy asked him to come up and sit in. Muddy loves him, and every time Charlie would show up when Muddy was playing, Muddy would bring Charlie up to sit in. Now, the rest of Chicago and they didn't really know who Charlie was, but he must be good because Muddy's got him on stage, so Charlie's not got an entree, and he's playing with anyone and everyone and holding his own. There's a fabulous photo in a book called Chicago Blues that has a picture of Charlie Musselwhite, Michael Bloomfield, and Paul Butterfield at Pepper's during an Otis Rush show. Talk about putting all these threads together in 1963. It is an unbelievable photo. If you ever get a hold of the book called Chicago Blues, you must look it up. It is just remarkable to see these three very young, and there's a fourth white guy, I don't know who that guy is. He was lucky just to be there, I guess, but the three of the four of them in there just having a ball and obviously living a dream. In 1967, Charlie puts out his first record. It's called Stand Back. Here comes Charlie Musselwhite's South Side Band. Now, talk about threads. Samuel Charters used to go to Chicago, and Charlie was the one that would take him around to all the clubs where normally the white folks wouldn't get in or wouldn't feel very comfortable. But Charlie had already made those friends and had already been there and had already established his bona fides. So Samuel would go with Charlie, and Samuel would never have any problems. Well, when Elektra releases their first Paul Butterfield disc, Samuel convinces Vanguard to put out Charlie's first platter. Now, we just honored Samuel in one of his books. So we got threads, people coming together right, left, and in between. And it becomes incredibly popular, including in California and all the underground radio stations that are starting up out there. Charlie finally gets offered enough money to make his work while to go to California and try that out for a while. And he makes enough money and he has enough fun. The hippies are running wild here. There's great music here. Good drinking, good drugs, good women. It's all good. He stays there. He builds a career there and an incredibly good life. And then one of the things that I love Charlie for, and anyone, is the ability to overcome something that's bringing you down. And for Charlie, it was drinking. I don't think that's any secret. I think most of us know that and know Charlie. But he realized he was heading in the wrong way. And he works really hard at quitting drinking. Initially, he says, I'm not going to drink till afternoon. Now I'm not going to drink till after 3 o'clock. I won't drink till after 5 o'clock. But he had never gone on stage without being drunk. And that was, how does he do that? Because that was his safety. That was his crutch. Well, supposedly the story goes that as he was getting ready to go to a show one night, he used to get there early. He said they had to get to a parking place, but it meant he could get to the bar before he could hit on stage. He hears on the radio about a young girl in Texas who is lost down a well fell down a well by the name of Jessica McClure. You all maybe remember that story. Charlie hears that she's keeping her spirits up by singing nursery rhymes. And he thinks to himself, my problems are next to nothing compared to this little girl. She's incredibly brave. He couldn't be half as brave as she's being. And right then and there, he decides no more drinking until they get her out of that well. He stops. And it was sort of his prayer and his wish for her. And lo and behold, they got her out of the well, and Charlie hasn't been drinking since. That to me is redemption, and that to me is really important. Charlie's put out over close to 30 albums in his career. He's had 18 Handy and Blues Music Awards. Lifetime Achievement Award from the Monterey Blues Festival. Mississippi Governor's Award for Excellence. There's a note on Beale Street. You go out to B.B. King's Club, you'll see Charlie Musselwhite's note right in front of B.B. King's Blues Club. He's worked not only with everybody in blues, but all kinds of great musicians. Eddie Vedder's, Tom Waits, Ben Harper, Bonnie Raitt, the Blind Boys of Alabama, Government Mules, In Excess, George Thorogood. Supposedly, he was the inspiration for Dan Aykroyd's character as a blues brother. Now, what makes this interesting tonight is supposedly Curtis Salgado, who's sitting right here, was the inspiration for John Belushi's character as the blues brother. So, gentlemen, meet inspiration, meet inspiration. I want to leave my part of this with one last quote that I found from Charlie. And I love the quote so much that I just have to leave it with you. Someone asked Charlie about the joy in the blues and how that works, how that happens. And Charlie's quote is, the spirit of the blues, times are hard, but the spirit of the blues is joy. It's always, we're going to get through this. This isn't the end of the world. In country music, this guy is singing about, my old lady left me and I'm going to jump off the bridge. In blues, you never jump off the bridge. You get yourself a new old lady. Charlie Musselwhite in the Hall of Fame.
I'm drunk right now. I just had 2 quarts of rum this afternoon. No, I'm joking. I was all prepared to say everything that... He must have stole my notes. Well, thank you. I admire your taste. It's been a long old road, I tell you, and it's nice to be with all you beautiful people. I mean, it's just the blues community, the camaraderie, it's just stronger than any situation I know of. It's carried me through thick and thin. I always say, you know, blues is your comforter in hard times and is your good buddy in good times. You know, it's an all-purpose attitude, kind of like a religion, philosophy. It's way more than just music. And I think we all know that. It's some deep stuff. I don't know, like I say, everything I was going to say, he's already said it. But I want to thank, I don't know how this comes about, who decides to give somebody one of these, but whoever they are, I want to thank them, and I appreciate that very much. And it'll have an exalted place in my home when I get there one of these days. There was lots of people along the way that inspired me, and like, right here in Memphis where I grew up, Furry Lewis, and in fact, Furry and I used to drive over to visit Gus Cannon. We would do a little drinking and have a lot of laughs and have some good times. And Will Shade was real important to me, and Willie B. I didn't know I was preparing myself for a career. I was just having a good time. Or I'd have paid way more attention. I forgot half of what all went on, And then up in Chicago, Muddy and Wolf and Shaky Walter and Magic Sam, Robert Nighthawk, Little Walter, they were all real encouraging. They didn't insist I sit in and all that. I was happy just to be hanging out, having a drink. I wasn't going around saying, hey, can I sit in? None of that stuff. Until, like you say, Mary, who I'd got to know pretty good, told Muddy, you ought to hear that boy play harmonica. And that was the turning point there. And then Sam Charters, produced the first album, and it gave me a career. And then the underground radio out in California, all them hippies was playing anything they wanted to play. They decided to play me. I guess they liked me. That put me on the road. So underground radio and that first album, or I wouldn't be here today, I guess. So thanks to them and Rosebud for booking me and keeping me out on the road, and more than anybody, Henrietta, my wife. She pulled me through the knothole, I ain't lying. You saved my life. Thank you very much.